Part 42. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 411. Shan Qiuqian's words made everyone present feel ashamed. Zhou Qiuling even had tears in her eyes. She knew that the master would not do such a thing that violated his conscience. What he did in the ancient temple must be for a reason. Master, what should we do? Shan Qiuqian sighed heavily, his face full of sorrow. Now that the world is in trouble, what we have to do is work together to help the world get out of trouble. Then he looked at Zhou Qiuling, with a little guilt on his face. What happened this time was that I misunderstood you. If I had listened to your advice, I wouldn't have made such a mistake. As for the matter between Ziding and Shang Guanyan, I have understood clearly that this matter is indeed one-sided by my teacher. Don't worry, I will definitely give you an explanation of this matter after I return to the sect. Shan Qiu looked at Zhou Qiuling with serious words. His unswerving look moved her heart. She knew that master would never let her down. Once things here are resolved, the unfounded charges she carries will disappear. Shan Qiuqian's eyes hurt from the emotion flashing in Zhou Qiuling's eyes. When entering the formation, Shang Guanyan's cultivation realm suddenly increased dramatically. And with the ability to fight her, he knew that the treasure inside was just a bait. The purpose is to lure cultivators from the outside into it and help this formation complete the devouring and advancement process. During the battle with Shang Guanyan, he also learned that the other party was using the art of disguise to frame Zhou Qiuling. And she made a soul transaction with the person behind the formation, which gave her the possibility of breaking through the realm. Originally, Shan Qiuqian had no chance of winning under the absolute crushing force of the region. Just when life and death were at stake, a golden light flashed from the formation. After the golden light flashed, Shang Guanyan and Ziding died in front of him. Even the ancient temple in front of them has become the only place where they can survive in the formation. But he didn't intend to tell these things, and no one noticed the flash of golden light. Even he didn't see the owner behind the golden light. But what he was sure of was that the owner of the golden light was in the safe house. But Shan Qiuqian is not worried that those people will discover the final truth of the matter. With the existence of fatal factors from the outside world, these people who are greedy for life and afraid of death will not fight for a slim chance of survival. Choosing to give up the precarious living environment in front of us, if it weren't for Zhou Qiuling's sudden intrusion. He can also continue to devour the souls of some babies to increase his spiritual power. Master, what is in the past is in the past. Shang Guanyan and Ziding will also receive their retribution. Zhou Qiuling no longer cared about the fate of Shang Guanyan and Ziding. In her eyes, the two of them were driven by greed and exchanged souls with the devil. Although he gained endless strength, he also betrayed himself. To argue with such people is just like arguing with a dog about who is strong and who is weak. What's the difference between you and them? Shan Qiuqian couldn't help but sigh, if only they all thought like you, the world would be more peaceful. Then he looked at Zhou Qiuling, with a hint of expectation in his eyes. This sudden situation caused the death of countless people. It turns out that the sect leader personally went to deal with this matter. At this point, he did not continue speaking. Instead, he looked at Zhou Qiuling with a sad face, and then let out a long sigh. But you also know that the situation here does not allow me to leave. Once I leave, they will not be able to survive. For the sake of everyone's life, I have to stay here, if I can. The sect master hopes that he can die for all the people in the world. But now we have no choice but to do so. When these words came out, Zhou Qiuling showed deep disbelief. She couldn't believe that these words came from Shan Qiuqian's mouth. The words high-sounding were used vividly by him. After Zhou Qiuling's mind went blank for a moment, he chuckled. He looked at Shan Qiuqian mockingly. In my mind, you have always been a person of high moral character and respect, who values affection and righteousness. he is a man who is willing to die for the sake of the world. I just discovered today. Those are all disguises, but they don't touch your true bottom line. In fact, you don't need to tell me, I will choose to go out from here. For you. Staying here and waiting for your breakthrough and promotion is the key to escape, but for me, the outside world is the place where I can truly survive. This place is nothing but a hell that eats people without spitting out their bones. Shan Kaiuchin felt like he was being disgraced when he saw Zhou Kaiyuling being so stubborn. The friendly smile on his face was instantly replaced by sullenness, and even the look he looked at her contained a bit of hatred. My master gave you a great opportunity, but you think you are going to die? What a kindness to feed the dog. If I hadn't been unable to leave, would I have given you this opportunity? What a shame. Zhou Kaiyuling sneered, maybe he was not even willing to pursue the death of his daughter. This formation is not only capable of devouring human souls. It can also amplify the inner desires of human nature. This is indeed a rare opportunity. Thank you very much, Master. Although he knew Shan Kaiuchin's inner thoughts, Zhou Kaiyuling did not express them. After all, the fact that he could accept the spirit that swallowed the baby proved that he was no different from these people. Moreover, Zhou Kaiyuling said this because he wanted people here to spit out some resources. She can leave, but only if she can save her life. Since these people neither want to die outside, nor do they want the people inside to go out. But he also wants to gain a good reputation for the sake of the world. If that's the case, why doesn't she take advantage of it? This opportunity is indeed rare, but I don't have any magic weapon for self-defense right now. If you go out rashly, you may be targeted by death before you even get out of the 5 miles radius of the ancient temple. When Shan Kaiuchin heard this, her expression changed, but after thinking about it, she realized that what she said was correct. If you can't even get some supplies, there really is no convincing at all. Therefore, he took 4 or 5 magical talismans from his own universe bag, plus a few power-type talismans. He handed it to Zhou Kaiyuling and patted her shoulder with sincere words. When you come back safely, I will definitely tell the world about you and remove your charges. Zhou Kaiyuling was silent when he heard this. If he really wanted to help her resolve the misunderstanding, he would not show up as the sect leader. You must know that she is Shan Kaiuchin's only disciple. Jian Kaiuchin had already taken out his own kinkin bag, and it was hard for the others to continue carrying it. Although they didn't know that Zhou Kaiyuling would take them out. But Shan Kaiuchin is already the only chance to save his life, if he can't seize this. That is true falling into death. So they took out all the life-saving talismans on their bodies without hesitation. And this was in line with Zhou Kaiyuling's wishes. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 412. Before leaving the ancient temple, I heard constant discussion behind me. It's time to leave, this god of plague. It's unthinkable at this time. If we could survive outside, would we still stay here? But it's okay if she leaves, so we don't have to share food with her, and we can rest for a while. The timing of her appearance is really bad, otherwise we could have made at least 10 more babies. Yes, but fortunately, Master Shan Kaiuchin is only 1 step away from Tai Golden Immortal. Zhou Kaiyuling listened to these words and shook his head lightly. Then he walked out of the ancient temple resolutely without any hesitation. If she had thought about returning to Giwan sect before, she saved those innocent people because of the compassion in her heart. Now, absolutely not, some people don't deserve pity. As soon as they left the ancient temple, the spirit form of Bingpo Jing appeared in front of them. Human beings are really vulnerable. When encountering life and death matters, they can abandon all previous concepts. It really shocked me. You came to Mount Everest just to save them. Bingpo Jing was talking to himself, not caring whether Zhou Qiuling liked to hear it or not. Seeing that you are different from those people, I will show kindness once. Although this formation prevented me from using spells, it can still help you avoid entering the illusion. Bing Pojing puffed up her chest very proudly, her face filled with confidence. Zhou Kaiyuling raised his eyebrows. Really? Then explain to me, what is the reason? Bing Pojing blinked, completely surprised by the scene in front of him. No, she can obviously help humans not be confused by illusions for a short period of time. Why did Zhou Kaiyuling still enter the illusion? There have been rumors in the heavens for a long time that the I-Soul spirit can do anything in heaven or on earth. It can not only cure diseases and save people, but also can cure diseases and save people. It can also help people break through the shackles of their realm. Now it seems that the rumors from the outside world are all false. Bing Pojing's self-confidence was severely hit. Listen to my explanation. Zhou Kaiyuling rolled his eyes and continued to move forward. She didn't have time to argue with this unreliable ice spirit now. Entering the fantasy world, any slightest movement may turn into a deadly weapon. Judging from the information learned, there are not only unknown dangers here. There is also danger from oneself. Therefore, Zhou Kaiyuling did not dare to be careless. That's her? It doesn't look like it? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Does the ancient god look like her? I have met the ancient gods, and it is not an exaggeration to say that it will conquer the country and conquer the city. With such an appearance, let alone the founding Yuanling, even I can't look down upon you. If it hadn't been for that war, the founding Yuanling and the ancient god would now be a couple of gods and immortals. Zhou Kaiyuling looked around at the surrounding environment, and found nothing but fireflies in front of him. Bing Pojing was frightened out of his wits by the sudden sound. He hurriedly hid in Zhou Kaiyuling's body, even his voice was trembling. Ghost. There is a ghost. Zhou Kaiyuling. Seeing Bing Pojing's appearance, she had to doubt the rumors from the outside world. It's such a coward, let alone confusing people, it's good if you can't be confused. What was that just now? It was actually our descendant. So cowardly. We were all powerful back then, but our descendants are actually so weak. We can't blame her, she was already in decline in our time, and with the war. Not to mention maintaining her form, it's already good to be able to survive. She can be considered a strong person now. Zhou Kaiyuling listened to the constant chatter in his ears. Turning my eyes to those fireflies, I found that those sounds were coming from the fireflies in front of me. You are products of ancient times. As soon as Zhou Kaiyuling's words came out, these elves were instantly surprised. She can actually hear our conversation. It's impossible. This formation is very harmful. With his personality, it is impossible for him to do such a thing. The huge sound made the whole earth tremble. It's not surprising that she could hear our conversation, but then again, she was not bewitched by those people. Such treatment did not give Zhou Kaiyuling any other thoughts. If you can make good use of it, maybe you can evolve. This guy has too much murderous aura. He has managed to accumulate it. Don't let him ruin it. She was the founding spirit in their mouths, and she had heard of Xiao Xian's myth. Zhou Kaiyuling knew who the people these elves were talking about were. Thinking about it now, Xiao Xian's murderous intention at the moment he saw himself can be explained. After the great god was killed by the saint, he showed signs of being distraught. But even if Zhou Kaiyuling opened her mouth to talk to them, the elves turned a blind eye to her. Really, I can't tell that you actually have such a good fortune. Not necessarily. The main reason why the founding Yuanling came here is to find her. Now the entire world of heavens. It's all because of the soul in her body. Without this soul, she is just an ordinary person. How terrifying it would be for such an existence to become the enemy of heaven. I think the reason why that ancient temple is not affected by the formation is also because of these elves. We have been here for so long. If it weren't for the heavy killings in the ancient temple, we would still be living there. She could hear the elves talking and sense their presence. I guess this is also the reason why Xiaoxian chose to stop. There is a living body to nourish the soul. Only this guy can save the ancient god, so it's no wonder that this formation was chosen here. But one thing surprised her. The person who helped her was actually Xiaoxian from the Xiao family in Zushan continent. It's better than taking it away directly, so this is also the main reason why Xiaoxian will be threatened by her. Otherwise, how could such a terrifying existence be threatened by an ordinary person? This little girl has the soul of the ancient god in her body, and with the help of the founding spirit, she can. And after breaking through the mystery of the womb, a saint was seriously injured. Huh? She actually has the spiritual power of the ancient gods in her body. But having said that, the founding Yuanling has already come in, why not choose to break the formation? At this moment, a white light fell from the sky. It simply can't attract the attention of these people, so it is very easy to accept their neglect. The surprise in this voice instantly attracted the attention of all the elves. With the temperament of the founding Yuanling, he will definitely help this guy break through his shackles. Even though the Bing soul essence was in Zhou Kaiyuling's body, it was pulled out. If it were her, she would definitely choose to take the soul away without hesitation. The elves disappeared instantly before Zhou Kaiyuling's eyes. Before he could break through the mystery of the womb, he could cut the sky with one sword. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 413. Zhou Kaiyuling looked up and found that this person was He Quan, the eldest elder of the He family. It is rumored that in order to save He Wu, He Quan did not hesitate to use secret methods to extend his life. But now the appearance of He Quan gave Zhou Kaiyuling a bad feeling. It is indeed the reincarnation of Wangshu's soul. Even if he enters this formation, he will not be affected at all. He Quan's body exuded a strong evil aura. The originally handsome and energetic face was now covered with black tentacles. Taking a closer look, it makes one's heart tremble. He Quan, you did such a thing to save He Wu, aren't you afraid of being punished by God? Zhou Qiuling's face was calm, but his heart was in chaos. My mind was constantly looking for opportunities to escape. Now she is trapped in an illusion. If she wants to get out, she has to break the illusion. But now that He Quan appears in the illusion, it is very troublesome to break the illusion. God's punishment? It took me 3 years to create this formation. What is God's punishment? He Quan had no fear of being punished by the wrath of heaven. You want to find a way out? In my illusion, even Deluo Jingxian can't escape. When I take out your soul and integrate it into this formation, when the formation is complete, you will be the founding Yuanling, and you will not be my opponent. As soon as these words came out, those ancient elves laughed. A low-level formation, no matter how advanced it is, can't defeat the founding Yuanling. If this were to succeed, Wu Yang Hengmo wouldn't have gone to great lengths to get behind the scenes. Today's human beings are ignorant. They have a little bit of ability, but they think about going against the will of heaven. They really overestimate their capabilities. Zhou Kaiyuling was shocked. She thought she was in her own fantasy, but she didn't expect that she was in He Quan's fantasy. If it was her own fantasy, she couldn't tell yet because she didn't know whether she was facing Wangshu or herself. If it were Wangshu, in her current situation, it would be impossible to break out of the illusion. But if it were He Quan, things would be easier to solve. Then she thought in her mind, it would be great if I could meet the founding Yuanling. With his feelings for Wangshu, it will definitely help everyone trapped in the formation. It's a pity that we don't have this opportunity anymore. Even if I die here, the soul in my body will not be damaged by the formation. After all, this is his lover. Zhou Kaiyuling's idea soon attracted the attention of the spirit hiding in Bingpajing's body. Is what she said true? It's possible, I dare not say anything else, but her soul is real. If we can take this opportunity, let the founding Yuanling release our sealed souls. We can once again become the terrifying existence we were back then. When He Quan saw Zhou Kaiyuling standing still, he thought she had chosen to surrender. After all, he was trapped in his own illusion and there was only one way to die. Instead of struggling to the death, it is better to choose to surrender, so that he can give the other party a good time. But just when he was about to attack Zhou Kaiyuling, a ray of fluorescent green light appeared out of thin air and surrounded him. Then he transformed into his own appearance and stood opposite him. Little girl, the birth gate is at your feet. The figure of the ancient elf appeared in front of Zhou Kaiyuling again and helped her open the door to life. He Quan behind him immediately sensed something was wrong, but he was blocking his way in front of him. When he got rid of that person, Zhou Kaiyuling had disappeared. Damn it, He Quan angrily exploded with a terrifying aura. After Zhou Kaiyuling was taken away by the ancient elves, he fell into a cave. If Xiao Xian were here, he would definitely be surprised. This cave is where Xiao Xian found the remains of Wangshu. Before Zhou Kaiyuling could react, the ancient elf pushed Zhou Kaiyuling into the ice fire eye. And the ice soul essence was integrated into her body, forged by the two-level eyes of ice and fire. Coupled with the blessing of the ancient elves' secret techniques, the ice soul essence was actually integrated into Zhou Kaiyuling's body. At the same time, Xiao Xian also sensed this strange change. Originally, he planned to use this formation to help the innocent souls inside transform into reincarnations. But the moment he felt the power of Wangshu's soul, he couldn't hold it in any longer. Going in the direction of the guidance, Wangshu's soul has been severely damaged in the long history of time and space. Coupled with this death, her soul was directly damaged irreversibly. Although it is nourished by the tree of life, it cannot be stabilized. Now the soul in Zhou Kaiyuling's body was not only repaired by the ice soul essence, but even the previous aura was gradually restored. So I couldn't wait to rush to the scene, but found that the formation in front of me was very obstructive. With a wave of his big hand, the dark cloud-covered sky was instantly illuminated by light. The devouring effect brought about by the formation also dissipated at this moment. The changes in the outside world were not what he should pay attention to. There was only hope in his eyes. Zhou Kaiyuling slowly opened his eyes, and the replacement he expected did not happen. Her combat effectiveness and realm have also broken through to a big level. This is... Zhou Kaiyuling felt his own changes with astonishment on his face. At this moment, those ancient elves gradually turned into human forms and appeared in front of her. What surprised her was that these ancient elves turned out to be monsters with human bodies and animal brains. I didn't expect this guy to have a soul of his own. It seems that the founding Yuanling still loves Wujai Wu. When he deprived the ancient god of his soul, it also ensures that this reincarnated body will not suffer backlash, which is really thoughtful. Zhou Kaiyuling was astonished. It seemed that this was the result of her training in the earthly fire. When she looked in front of her, she met Wangshu's soul. The beautiful face made her heart tremble slightly. This was the first time she had seen such a face, so it was no wonder that Xiao Xian would fight against the sky for her. After the formation was cracked, He Quan also suffered a backlash. After learning that the 6 paths of reincarnation was destroyed, he had the idea of creating the 6 paths of reincarnation himself. In order to show his loyalty to heaven, he did not hesitate to attract thunder and made Hua the object of sacrifice. He really opened the formation and made all the people of the heavens and worlds the objects of sacrifice. Originally, everything went according to plan, and even the founding Yuanling was trapped in it. With the protection of heaven, everything went very smoothly, but now, everything has come to nothing. At this moment, a giant eye appeared in the sky, its red pupils emitting endless anger. A fiery red light fell on He Kuan's body, wrapping him inside. After a while, an ancient echo came from the sky. He Kuan of the He family in the Xinhua continent touched the taboo, causing countless innocent souls to vanish into ashes. The world is in ruins. Today, heaven has sent down punishment and killed him with the fire of heaven's wrath. Eternal life and never enter reincarnation. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 414. That moment when this ancient voice sounded in the sky. This attracted the attention of the entire world, and there was constant discussion. The He Kuan of the He family actually attracted the punishment of the fire of wrath. Didn't you see? He has activated the ancient secret method, and he is the one who caused the destruction of all living beings. If he hadn't been obsessed with profit, how could we have suffered this disaster? It would be too happy for such a person to be punished by the fire of God's wrath. The discussion in the heavens and the world did not cause much commotion. Xinhua continent did not even make a sound, as if this disaster had never happened. Xiao Xian left Xinhua continent with Wangshu's soul. The purpose of his trip was for Wangshu. Now that Bingpojing has merged with her soul, Wangshu's soul has been stabilized. When he goes to the primitive world, placing her soul in the source of his own awakening will allow her to gradually awaken. As for the follow-up of Xinhua continent, it naturally has nothing to do with him. All heavens and continents. The mountain behind the Xiao family. Xiao Xian fused Wangshu's soul and the remnant soul together in a short period of time. The soul that was originally ethereal and could disappear at any time suddenly became full of vitality at this moment. The form of the soul also gradually becomes substantial, if one puts aside the light of the soul emanating from the body. At this moment, Wangshu seemed to be reborn, and Xiao Xian was completely relieved. Wangshu's soul was stabilized, and he was able to do other things. Now that heaven is in power, in order to consolidate political rule, it does not hesitate to delegate benefits to induce human cultivators to use secret methods. He even killed many innocent people and made them pay for the government of heaven. Regardless of success or failure, Tiandao will be the biggest beneficiary in the end result. From the bloody methods of thunder in the past, to the current killing with borrowed knives. The image he creates belongs to the right side. Regarding this, Xiao Xian had to admit that Tiandao was cruel and decisive. Looking at the entire world, after the rule of heaven, there are very few cultivators who have broken through to Luo Jingxian, and there are even fewer Tai Jingxian. The saint has only Hung Jun's followers, and the rest of the practitioners want to become a saint. Either his life is threatened, or he is unable to overcome the thunder tribulation of heaven. Not to mention a saint, not even the Tai Golden Immortal can break through. According to the development of the previous world, the era of 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors is about to come. Only then will the situation become truly irreversible. At that time, everything will be just a pawn on the chessboard of heaven. If you want to escape from the chessboard, even death is impossible. In order to prevent heaven from holding everything in its hands, Xiao Xian must make changes. In the next few calamities, he must interfere with it, so that it is possible to change the trajectory of time and space. In the current situation, the underworld has been destroyed, and Hutu has re-entered the realm of Dao cultivation. Therefore, the first thing he did was to bring heaven and Buddhism under his command. But on the surface, heaven is controlled by God Haoshan, but this is not the case. The ones who really control are the saints behind him. Buddhism evolved from the Western religion created by Taoists Jiyin and Zunti. Directly following Hung Jun's orders, these two forces are more troublesome. If you want to control the subsequent situation in your own hands, you must take over heaven and Buddhism. Now, with the help of the He family, the prototype of the Great Dao and 6 paths of reincarnation has been somewhat completed. Regardless of whether it is Hutu or the great way of reincarnation perception, it is possible to recreate the 6 paths of reincarnation. Therefore, his first target is heaven. However, the 3 parties of the Xiao family cannot show up yet and need to continue to hide. Buddhism has the ability to purify and regenerate. When fighting against the opponent, Buddhism can help heaven to continuously recover. Just like in the game, the nanny can continuously provide blood. At that time, other factors will contain the Buddhist side, like this. Things become simpler, attacking one by one is much faster than attacking in groups. Today's human world is just emerging, and he still has time to prepare for this. With his current strength, he can still fight alone against countless evil demons. But if he adds the 2 major helpers of Tiandao and Hongjun Patriarch, his chances of winning are slim. Therefore, he still needs to develop some strength that can compete with Hongjun and Tiandao. The Rakshasa clan also needs to go there. After the matter was almost resolved, Xiao Xian set off for the prehistoric world. Each small world has its own barrier set up at the entrance. Even Xiao Xian, as the founding Yuanling, must abide by it. This is not only a shackle that restrains other small worlds, but also a condition that restrains itself. Looking at the entrance to the ancient world with colorful lights in front of him, Xiao Xian had an indifferent expression on his face. According to his previous temperament, he must go to find Hongjun for revenge. However, the current situation can only allow Hongjun to continue to grow. The first thing to do when returning to the ancient times is to place Wangshi's spirit in his place of origin. Xiao Xian's figure appeared in the sky of each small world in the form of a picture. Who is that? You want to break into the wild world. After the Great War that year, the prehistoric world was separated directly and became a region that the strongest people yearned for. If later cultivators want to enter the prehistoric world, they must pass through the world barrier. In the world barrier, there are not only Deluo-Jinxian monsters, but also many Tai-Jinxian cultivators. If you want to enter the prehistoric world, you must cross the long river of the world. If you are not a saint, no one dares to step on it. The figure in the sky attracted the attention of countless people. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, a ray of white light fell from the sky, like a bridge built in the long river of the world. Xiao Xian's figure was slowly taken away from everyone's sight by this white bridge. From the beginning to the end, he only left a back figure for everyone. There were also sharp-eyed people who recognized Xiao Xian's identity. This figure from behind seems to be Xiao Xian, the head of the Xiao family. That's the founding spirit. It's no wonder that he is not affected by the long river of the world and disappears into a no-man's land. Even those terrifying beings feel like they have met their ancestors. The founding Yuanling is really different. The news that Xiao Xian went to the prehistoric world spread instantly in various small worlds. Some people say that he wants to take revenge. After all, the woman he loves most was killed by the saint. How can such a blood feud be swallowed? Some people also say that his strength is not as good as the infinite demon, since the way of heaven can kill him for the first time. Then there will be a second time. This time Xiao Xian goes to the ancient world, and it is not certain whether he will live or die. Everyone in the Xiao family seemed to have never heard of all this. Ever since Xiao Xian left for the prehistoric world, they have been practicing behind closed doors. Even the 3 major forces have disappeared. As if the world has evaporated, as time goes by, this incident is quickly overshadowed by other things. In the world of Zushan, a world of traffic, the most indispensable thing is new hotspots. People will only see what they can see. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 415. The appearance of Xiao Xian caused turmoil in the entire prehistoric period. The old forces that have been silent for many years are now ready to make a move. They supported Xiao Xian back then. Suppressed by the law of heaven, he can only live in a place where he will never see the light of day. Now that Xiao Xian has returned, they should find a chance to meet him, and the rule of Tiandao should be overthrown. The picture on the sky disappeared after Xiao Xian entered the prehistoric world. The vast ocean is vast and boundless. The sky is blue and white, the sky is clear, and the dazzling sunshine shines on the rippled sea. The light refracted out, as if breaking through the shackles of the prison. As one of the three great mythical beasts, ancestral dragon is not only powerful physically, but also invulnerable. Going to heaven and earth, calling for wind and rain, making the Zilong clan gradually become the strongest among the mythical beasts. If it weren't for the Phoenix clan's immortal ability to be reborn from the ashes, the ancestral dragon clan would be the strongest among the mythical beasts. In the deepest part of the sea where no sunlight can be seen, Long Ji watched the scene in front of him disappear with a look of silence on his face. The light in his eyes flickered uncertainly. After the Long Khan calamity, their ancestral dragon clan was not only imprisoned in the deep sea by heaven for life. He was even deprived of the right to practice in the human form, so that now he has reached the halfway level of Tai Golden Immortal. He is also unable to completely transform into a human form, as the dragon horns, dragon tail, and dragon scales still exist on his body. At first glance, how is it different from a monster? Dragon King, have you really decided? Standing behind him was a woman with dragon horns on her head and green dragon scales on her face. Under the refraction of the water, it emits a faint light, which makes people feel frightened at first glance. Her face was full of worry and her eyes were full of struggle. The founding Yuanling back then was no match for them, let alone his reincarnation. Long Ji turned around and looked at the woman in front of him, a trace of love and intolerance flashing in his eyes. In that war, he was only 5 years old, but he witnessed the tragic death of his clan members. In order to leave a way for them to survive, their father did not hesitate to block the enemy with his own body, and in exchange for their food, they had no worries. I thought the matter would end there, but I never thought that the saint of heaven would use his life to threaten his mother to swear a poisonous oath. The Zilong clan will never become saints again, and they will no longer interfere in anything in the prehistoric world. In order to completely dispel the doubts of the heavenly saint, the mother even shortened the lifespan of all the women in the clan. Only by becoming a Deluo Jinxian can we survive forever. If not, our soul will be gone. From then on, the Zilong clan was no longer monitored by heaven. Although there is no surveillance, the Zilong clan, which continues to this day, is about to perish. Now there are only 30 pure bloodline members of the ancestral dragon left. There were only 10 women among them, and only 3 were able to produce children. If he doesn't make some changes, the Zilong clan will be completely extinct. I have no choice. The founding Yuanling is the last way to survive, for the sake of the ancestral dragon clan and for you. Long Ji looked at the woman in front of him affectionately. Long Shui was not only his lover, but also his life. The oath that her mother made back then caused Long Shui to miss the chance to become Deluo Jinxian. In addition, she lost a lot of blood essence due to several childbirths. The remaining life is only 10,000 years. If he doesn't make some changes, Long Shui will be gone. But Long Shui wanted to say something else, but was stopped by Long Ji. No need to say more, I have made up my mind. When Long Shui saw this, he didn't say much, so he just stood behind him quietly. In her current state, she can only support her from behind. At the same time, senior members of the Phoenix clan also held an emergency meeting. I think you all already know about the founding Yuanling. As the current patriarch of the Phoenix clan, Feng Yan is very concerned about the future development of the family. After Long Khan's calamity, the Phoenix clan became the pawns of the saints of heaven. Because blood has the ability to be reborn from the ashes, it is also studied by heaven. Every 100 years, a family genius will be slaughtered by the other party, and the outside world calls it training. In fact, they took the talented disciple for research and extracted the essence and blood from his body. Although saints are immortal and coexist with heaven and earth, they are limited to fighting against cultivators in heaven and earth. Once you are fatally injured by the founding Yuanling, your soul will be shattered. So they need to find a magic weapon that can cause unlimited death, and the Phoenix family is the best target. From the outside world, they are the most glorious, although they are not restricted by the shackles of heaven. His cultivation level can be the same as before, but he is the worst among the three divine beasts. In order to control the Phoenix clan, the heavenly saint blessed them with a heavenly spell. Once they do something detrimental to them, they will suffer backlash and their souls will be driven away. Now that the founding Yuanling has returned, if they want to reverse the situation, this is the only way out. The return of the founding Yuanling is an excellent opportunity for us to regain our freedom. Clan leader, we can try this exit, otherwise, we will always be suppressed by the law of heaven. Feng Yan's heart moved when he heard this. Their thoughts were exactly the same as his. Clan leader, if the Zilong and Phoenix clans are involved in the current dispute between Heavenly Dao and Dao, they are undoubtedly asking for their own death. The other elders also agreed. What do you think about the founding Yuanling entering the primitive world? If the founding spirit can defeat heaven, then we still have a chance of winning. If we lose. Feng Yan waved his hand, and a silent secret sound sounded in the consciousness of the Phoenix clan. This is a secret message unique to the Phoenix clan, and even the saints of heaven cannot detect it. As soon as these words came out, Kishan also fell into hesitation. So what he needs to do is to push Haoshan out of the way, and the remaining saints are the smartest. Although Haoshan is in charge of today's heaven, he has no real power. The real power is in the hands of a few saints. In the dispute between the way of heaven and the great way, we can choose to wait and see. Whoever has the advantage, we can help. Now that Wang Shu's matter has been completely resolved, he can go about his business with peace of mind. At the same time, the people below looked at each other, obviously disapproving of this matter. As soon as Wang Shu's soul was placed here, a huge change occurred, even though he couldn't open his eyes to look at him. People who have empty ambitions but cannot realize them will completely surrender if they are given a little benefit. It would be unforgivable to allow future generations to suffer our pain. On the surface, the Phoenix clan seems to have unlimited glory, but in fact they are just hanging on, and we don't care. The rules and regulations of the Great Dao and Tiandao have basically been perfected, and all it takes is an opportunity to fully appear in the world. One of the older elders stepped forward and expressed his thoughts. The actions of the Zilong and Phoenix clans cannot escape the Shikailan clan. Pass the order, all members of the Phoenix clan, prepare to join the founding Yuanling. But what needs to be determined is who his heart goes to. Xiao Xian has brought Wang Shu's soul to the place of origin where he awakened. The leader of this clan has the same idea as you. Since Long Khan measured the calamity. When Xiao Xian came up from Zushan continent, the Kailan clan had already held a meeting. Know what to let go of and what to keep. Instead of becoming a slave to the way of heaven, it is better to compete with him directly, no matter whether you live or die. Haoshan is not easy to deal with, nor is it simple to deal with. Kailan's clan leader, Kishan, looked at the people below with an indifferent expression, a hint of coldness flashed in his eyes. Although our clan has declined, it has not been monitored by heaven. If we continue to maintain our status, we may be abandoned by heaven. But the vitality in her body has been restored. After bringing her physical body over, she may be able to wake up. No, we'd better take conservative measures. We can't bear the casualties in this battle. Although countless galactic years have passed, the spiritual power of this place is still extremely abundant. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 416. The moment Tiandao saw Xiao Xian appear in the ancient world, his heart couldn't help but tremble slightly. When he created him, he had that terrifying and unparalleled domineering power. Until now, he still can't get it out of his heart, even after dealing with the infinite demon. That fear also stayed deep in my heart, even after countless galactic years. The founding Yuanling finally returned, but now he is no longer the weakling who can only look up to. Founding Yuanling, I will let you know who is the strongest in this world. You were very strong back then, but you forgot that the times are progressing, and I am constantly growing, but you have always been stagnant. Tiandao transformed into a man in black and stared at the place where Xiao Xian appeared. But he always had a feeling that although Xiao Xian did not look at him, his eyes stayed on him. Thinking of this, the incarnation of heaven disappears from the world. But Xiao Xian's figure appeared in place after he disappeared. It turned out that after entering the prehistoric world, he came directly to the location of the incarnation of heavenly Dao. Recalling the scene when he was created, a trace of indifference flashed in Xiao Xian's eyes. Haoshan was walking along the Milky Way with Yaokai, looking at the spiritual flowers and grass growing on both sides of the bank. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. Back then, he was just a little boy under Hung Jun. Later, he was ordered by Hung Jun to become the Lord of Heaven, but he became a puppet. Even though he wanted to change the world in his heart, he could only give up because he was not strong enough. God Haoshan, since you have taught your skills to the descendants of the founder Yuanling, why can't you let go of the fetters in your heart? Is it really just the ability to change the world that you want? Yaokai's words made Haoshan's heart ripple slightly. His thoughts were floating but unwavering. Before Haoshan could reply, the voice of the incarnation of heavenly Dao echoed in his ears. Then he disappeared in Yaokai's surprised eyes. Well. The sighs of Yaokai echoed along the banks of the Milky Way. Haoshan walked towards the incarnation of Tiandao and knelt down on one knee to salute him. I've seen the incarnation of heaven. After hearing this, the incarnation of heavenly Dao slowly turned around and looked at God Haoshan with a determined expression. Unexpectedly, not only did he not lose his original intention in this competition for interests, he even became more determined. The emergence of the founding Yuanling has plunged the great desolate world into crisis again. The war of that year may start again. The incarnation of heavenly Dao was filled with emotion, with deep worry on his face. I've called you here today just for this matter. I don't know what you think. After saying that, he looked at God Haoshan without changing his expression, as if he was interrogating him. Haoshan's figure was shaken. The cause of that war was because the founding Yuanling and Luohu were close friends. After Luohu's death, the founding spirit also fell into the devil's path, and heaven was worried that what happened to Luohu would happen again. He teamed up with countless demons and laid out a plan that lasted for countless years. But even so, there is no way to kill the founding Yuanling, plus Wang Shu is an anomaly. The entire plan almost collapsed. Wuliang Henmo was seriously injured and went to the outer world to recuperate. The incarnation of heavenly Dao and the saint of heavenly Dao temporarily put out the fire and reorganized the prehistoric world. And he was the first to suppress everyone, but he also became the target of public criticism. At best, he is the king of heaven, at worst, he is just a puppet with no real power. Even the immortals in heaven are not even half as good, and will even be trampled under their feet. Immortals in heaven are divided into gangs. There are followers of heavenly saints and loyal supporters of other saints. The incarnation of heaven nodded, you are a smart man, and it was a right decision to choose you as the ruler of heaven. At least until the founding Yuanling is not threatened, his life will not be in danger. But in the end, everyone in the Xiao family chose to give up entering the prehistoric world, with their current abilities. He went to heaven to open the dungeon, but was rejected by Xiao Jiangxin. Heaven has all kinds of strong swordsmen. So he went to other small worlds to practice. Before leaving, Xiao Xian handed him the immortal killing sword. This time the founding Yuanling returns. I also learned about your situation. If you can kill the founding Yuanling this time, those who interfere with heaven, I will make them withdraw and hand over the full power of heaven to you. Naturally, the incarnation of heavenly Dao is very clear about Haoshen's inner thoughts. In the end, it will become the era of capital. Haoshen will definitely complete the mission. Even if they do not have the realm of saints, as long as they hold a spiritual power token from the founding Yuanling. Haoshen's voice was calm. To him, it didn't matter who was the master of the world, allowing them to escape when in danger. Haoshen looked at the incarnation of Tiandao sternly. Even if he was looking for a scapegoat, he would not let himself die so quickly. As soon as these words came out, Haoshen raised his eyes in disbelief. In that case, things get trickier. The founding Yuanling was the creator of heaven and earth, and even Pangu, the great power who created the heaven, was not as good as him. Those people are now focusing on Xiao Xian and have no time to take into account the existence of these people. When Xiao Xian entered the prehistoric world, he left a path for the descendants of the Xiao family. Then you can ignore the harm caused by the world barrier, and with Xiao Xian's guidance, you can reach the prehistoric world safely. If he cannot be killed, both the great desolate world and other small worlds will become victims. But he had no choice. Even if he knew that he was defeated by Xiao Xian, he had to face the difficulties. Even if he knew, so what, could he still escape from the palm of his hand? But he only has no supporters. No matter what he does, he will be opposed and resisted by those people. After being a puppet for so many years, if I don't take back my initiative at this time, how long will it take? Since I asked you to take over this matter, I naturally have a strategy to deal with it. You are just delaying him. All he wants is for the world to no longer be controlled by capital, but if you think about it carefully, no matter who controls it. He has extremely high attainments in the way of swordsmanship, and Xiao Xian originally wanted him to go to the prehistoric era during this experience. Without enough strength, he absolutely could not cause any more trouble to Xiao Xian. Let him compete with the creator with a broken stone, which is tantamount to striking an egg against a stone. It would only bring trouble to Xiao Xian, so everyone chose to go to other small worlds to experience it. The appearance of the founding Yuanling is another devastating disaster for Hong Huang. After God Haoshen came back from the outer world, he summoned all the members of the heaven. Therefore, practicing at this time is the best opportunity. Xiao Jiangxin, as a senior member of Dao Tianting. Now that the incarnation of heavenly Dao has spoken, why doesn't he give it a try? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 417. Haoshen summoned all members of the heavenly court to the Yongxiao palace. Looking at the people below who were not convinced by him, although their faces were calm, they could no longer suppress the anger in their hearts. To them, his orders could be ignored. The reason why I am here this time is because of those people's wishes. The moment the incarnation of heavenly Dao found him, those people already knew what to do next. So no matter how dissatisfied the people in front of him are, they will not reject him. Heaven has sensed that there will be another disaster in the prehistoric world. Today, I summon you all to return to your positions. A killing order is issued, and all members of the Xiao family will be killed without mercy. Let his soul be destroyed. As soon as these words came out, all the heavenly court members below were stunned for a moment. After looking at each other, they chose to accept the order. The Xiao family is the current family of the founding Yuanling, and this time he came to the prehistoric world. The Xiao family's resident was also brought up, although the Xiao family's children did not come out often. but they will choose to practice in some safer areas. In their eyes, such people are no different from ants. It's a waste of time and energy to let them kill some ants. Although he didn't show it on the surface, he was already very dissatisfied in his heart. After leaving, his dissatisfaction with Haoshan reached a critical point. It was a mistake for Daezu Hongjun to choose him as the Emperor of Heaven. How could a young boy have such ability to assume the position of Emperor of Heaven? I thought he would have a plan. I didn't expect that I would just kill some ants with little strength. It really opened my eyes. Humph, just wait, this time Tiandao's mission will definitely require him to step down, and even his life will be at stake. The words of several people fell into Haoshan's ears without missing a word. Watching those people leaving, he wanted to kill them on the spot. But he knew that even if his strength was superior to theirs, he couldn't compete with those people in vain. Behind them are not only the saints, but also the tacit approval of Hongjun Daezu. But in order to make these people his subjects, he must give it a try. Not only was it a way to wash away the humiliation he had suffered over the years, it was also an opportunity to prove his strength. Therefore, he did not hesitate to go to the forbidden land of the prehistoric world. That place is the origin of the birth of 3,000 demon gods, and it is also a place that is feared by the saints of heaven. The abyss of evil. As his name suggests, only extremely vicious people will appear here. After the battle between the founding Yuanling and Wuliang Hangmo, the terrifying power of the two people emerged. Two poles were created. One was the abyss of all evil, loved by all the evil in the world. There is a realm that belongs to an inviolable god, where spiritual power is abundant but no one dares to approach it. Only those with extremely pure hearts can go there. After emerging from that place, no one has ever entered it. Even the heavenly saints had coveted that place before, but were repulsed by that holy light. Looking at the dark land in front of him, a trace of determination flashed across Haoshan's face. Since you have forced me to a desperate situation, then I have no choice but to put myself to death and survive. Then he resolutely walked towards this land exuding darkness. The white figure was gradually swallowed up by the darkness, as if it were one body. After hearing the message from the heavenly court members, Yaokai looked in disbelief. She couldn't believe that this was done by Haoshan, even though he had always been in a state of oppression. But I always believe in my heart that one day I will be able to break out of the siege and become a strong man who dominates the heaven. Now, because of a few words from the incarnation of heaven, he did not hesitate to take action against those humans. How is this different from the original Dijun and Taiyi? How is it different from those saints? Heading towards the two figures, the two quasi-sages saw this and hurriedly welcomed this killing move. The blood mist is supposed to disperse slowly, but the blood mist of these two quasi-saints is slowly condensing. Let him handle the final result. After thinking about it for a while, he discovered that Hongjun might be behind all this. Therefore, Haoshan, who was about to be demoted, became the best candidate. If he really takes action, he will only become the Demon King's body. She originally wanted to go in and let Haoshan find his way back, but after thinking that this was Hongjun's push, he actually did this. For the sake of being the ruler of the heaven, he did not hesitate to collude with the abyss of evil. She must stop Haoshan's behavior, which will not only bring disaster to herself. The body still exudes the demonic energy after the deal with the Demon King, and Yaokai is surprised. After struggling several times, Yaokai finally decided to tell Daezu Hongjun about this matter. However, in the face of Xiaoxian's absolute power, even a saint would be of no avail when encountering this move. When Yaokai arrived at Haoshan's residence, Haoshan was returning from the abyss of all evils. Yaokai was shocked and couldn't believe that this was the result he had calculated. Yaokai didn't have time to think too much and could only leave in a hurry. Therefore, two quasi-sages are enough to kill her. It will also bring disaster to the prehistoric world. At that time, it will not be as simple as the war between the founding Yuanling and Tiandao. However, when she was about to leave, she was spotted by Haoshan. Thinking of this, Yaokai rushed to Haoshan's residence. Haoshan looked at Yaokai's escaping figure, with a hint of solemnity flashing in his eyes. Originally, she wanted her to live well, but now she already knows, in order to prevent the secret from being leaked. Therefore, he did not hesitate to send pursuers to chase Yaokai, even if her strength was equal to his own. It turned into blood mist and floated in the sky. Xiao Xian looked at the blood mist and raised his eyebrows with interest. Then he knew what the result of his going to remonstrate would be. She and Haoshan are equally powerful, but the other party has already made a deal with the Demon King, so he must have the Demon King's token on his body. Xiao Xian stood on Lingshan Mountain, looking at the approach of the three figures in the sky with an indifferent expression. The moment he encountered the green figure landing, he pointed out two extreme sword lights and instantly shot up into the sky. But before that, they need a pedal that can push the giant stone of founding Yuanling. Instead of doing this, it is better to escape directly, even if you can avoid it for a while. The final result may be to let Haoshan give way. Even if she went to tell Hung Jun about this, all she would get in exchange was her own death. The appearance of the incarnation of Heavenly Dao was just a meeting between Hung Jun and him. What's more, two small quasi-sages. The sword light instantly penetrated their bodies and harvested their flesh and blood. Presumably, Daozu Hung Jun won't criticize him too much. When the time comes, that matter can be directly put on the agenda. The only way is to let Yaokai fall first, and then blame all this on the founding Yuanling. In the process of escaping, in order to prevent herself from being discovered, she would not dare to use all her strength. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 418. Xiao Xian knew this blood mist, it was the incarnation of the blood demon. An existence that specializes in swallowing the blood of cultivators as an opportunity to practice. Wherever it is located, the evil thoughts in the heart will be amplified, and it will become the executioner that devours the self. The blood demon was born around 1,500 years after Rahu's death. Also appearing with him was the Demon King, although both the Rakshasa and the Rakshasa clan came from the Sea of Blood. But they are fundamentally different. The Rakshasa clan is the famous god of war in the three realms. But it is intangible and has no gender. Even if it transforms into a human being, it is still ugly. And without seeing the sun all day long, he lives in the Rakshasa tribe from life to life. The demon clan is different. The demon clan takes devouring all things as their cultivation rule. And he uses devouring living bodies and living souls as a means to improve his cultivation level. After breaking through to a certain level, you can transform into a human form and survive in the human world. Unlike the Rakshasas, they have no emotions, like a broken machine. Unless destroyed directly, it will continue to kill innocent people. Yaokai recognized Xiao Xian's identity at a glance, and she witnessed the entire process with her own eyes. The fighting power and courage of the founding Yuanling made even heaven tremble with fear. Not to mention Hung Jun Daozu, the saint of heaven, if it weren't for their early deployment. The founding Yuanling was not on guard against them, which led to what happened next. Now that he sees the founding Yuanling again, Yaokai's heart still cannot calm down. Recalling the move made by Daozu Hung Jun and the changes in Haoshan, she began to struggle in her heart. When she came to her senses, Xiao Xian had already stepped towards the sky. The blood mist in front of him is the Demon Emperor's right-hand man. The Demon Emperor was originally responsible for robbing the Hongmeng purple energy. Being chased by the saint, although a trace of his soul was left in the world, he was unable to gather his physical body. In the end, he could only live in the body of the blood demon. It can be said that where there is the blood demon, there is the Demon Emperor. But there was no trace of the demon emperor in the blood demon in front of him, so Yaokai was also suspicious. The blood demon turned into a rain of blood and covered this land. This area belongs to the domain of humans. There is no spiritual power and no practitioners, only the purest soul. These souls can help him eat his soul and become a saint. Things were going very smoothly when the breath of two quasi-sages suddenly came from the sky. This worried him so much that he even feared he would die from it. But when the two quasi-sages were beheaded, he devoured their blood essence without hesitation. Turn it into the nourishment for your own breakthrough. In just one breath, he who was originally the great Luo Jingxian. He broke through to Tai Golden Immortal, and even his combat power reached an unprecedented level. Even if the 12 Golden Immortals under Yuan Shi Tianzun come here at this moment, they are no match for him. At this moment, a figure in white came through the air and landed in front of him. As if a sacred and inviolable god is independent in the world. A shocking and coercive aura erupted from his body, even if it was just a look. All made the blood demon feel an unprecedented sense of oppression, but he did not take Xiaoxian seriously. Looking at the entire prehistoric world, there are only a handful of Deluo Golden Immortals, and even fewer Tai Golden Immortals. Except for those saints, there are not many people who can suppress it. Unless Yuan Shi Tianzun and Tongtian cult leader come in person, no matter who they are today, they will die under his hands. The blood demon slowly condensed his body, and his body was a red body. Moreover, the bloody man who oozed a foul odor was not wrapped in skin tissue, as if he had been skinned by life. Even when Xiaoxian saw it, a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. "Mortal, I am in a very good mood today. Please leave quickly before I regret it. I can spare your life, otherwise, you will turn into blood mist and be swallowed by me." The blood demon looked at Xiaoxian contemptuously, exuding a strong pressure of Deluo Jingxian. Xiaoxian's expression remained as usual, and with a single point of his finger, a beam of chaotic power turned into sword light and fell from the sky. In front of the founding Yuanling, how could a mere blood demon harm him at all? Look at my memory, I've even forgotten it. If it weren't for Taoist Zhao Gongming's breakthrough to Tai Golden Immortal. Zhao Jiang's words made Zi Jinling immediately angry. Then a terrifying aura erupted from his body, and a huge bloody palm fell from the sky. Therefore, Taoist Sahang changed his name to Zijinling, and Master Yuding changed his name to Yuquanshan. No one has beheaded 3 corpses for a whole 1,000 years. This is really glorious. As you said, the 12 golden immortals of Taoism were famous in ancient times. Qin Wan looked at Zijinling and Yuquanshan with a mocking smile, as if he was watching a joke. Qin Wan walked forward with a smile on his face, but his eyes were full of disdain and contempt. With a wave of his hand, the blood demon's move was broken, along with the power of his sleeves. This scene shocked him. A trace of disbelief flashed in the blood demon's eyes. A mere first-level mortal body could have such terrifying fighting power. Yo! Who do I think it is? It turns out to be our Taoist Sahang and Master Yuding. At the same time. Why are they here? Zi Jinling looked over with an indifferent expression. Naturally, he will not let go of the ridicule. Even if there are casualties, it is a very normal thing. How could someone as powerful as Yuan Shi Tianzun teach a disciple like you? Although Yuan Shi Tianzun and Master Tongtian are brothers in the same sect, the conflict between them is very complicated. Zhao Zhang followed suit, leaning back because of violent laughter. Coupled with the intervention of Tais Hang Lejun and Zunti Jian, the conflict between Yuan Shi Tianzun and Tongtian cult leader became increasingly serious. These are golden immortals. Qin Wan, please don't neglect them, otherwise they will die without knowing it. I have even forgotten that there are no golden immortals among our direct disciples. Golden immortal isn't that our realm? Since Taoist Sahang is the only female disciple of the 12 golden immortals, the 2 of them were involved in matters in the human world when they went down the mountain this time. I underestimated you, but under the great Logo Jinxian, you are all ants. As soon as the two of them reached the border of the human world, they stopped moving forward. The reason was just friction over doctrinal issues, but as time went by, the appearance of the blood demon devouring souls in the human world alarmed Yuan Shitianzun. And to go down to the human world, you need to pass through the territory of Tongtian cult master, given the virtues of those under him. A huge wave of energy surged towards the blood demon. They naturally knew about the things that alarmed even Master, Yuquanshan said, not surprised by the other party's appearance. The unstoppable sword force swept across the sky, overwhelming the enemy, and moved towards the blood demon to suppress it. Therefore, Taoist Sahang and Genren Yuding, among the 12 golden immortals, were sent to investigate. With a terrifying aura that destroyed the world, it moved towards Xiaoxian to suppress it. Zhao Zhang on the side also stepped forward, the greed in his eyes unabashedly lingering on Zi Jinling. Such a move was just a child's trick in front of Xiaoxian and was not eye-catching at all. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 419. Qinwan and Zhao Zhang were just registered disciples of Master Tongtian, but they spoke arrogantly against them. Zi Jinling's temperament was so arrogant, how could she tolerate them humiliating herself and the sect like this? He was about to take action against Qinwan and the others, but was pulled away by Yuquanshan. He's just a registered disciple. He can't even stand on the stage, but he still dares to show off his power in front of this golden immortal. Yuquanshan's eyes were slightly bright, and a terrifying pressure instantly enveloped Qinwan and Zhao Zhang. Although Qinwan and Zhao Zhang were registered disciples of Master Tongtian, their abilities were considered to be among the best in the world. The land they are currently on is Jinao Island, which is one of the residences where the registered disciples stay. There are a total of 10 people living here, but because of their extremely high talent and fighting power, they have enjoyed great success in the wilderness. Therefore, he is also known as the 10 Heavenly Lords of Jinao Island, which can be regarded as giving Jijiao great prestige. In addition, the leader of Tongtian Church has always believed in the teaching of there is no distinction between teachings, so he has attracted countless believers. It's a mess, a mixture of fish and dragons, heretic things, and they dare to look at me. You don't know your own abilities. The pressure of Yuquan Mountain directly shut up Qinwan and Zhao Zhang, even if they were the 10 heavenly lords on Jinao Island. For him, it was nothing more than crushing an ant. It's just that the two sects haven't really broken up with each other yet, so they still have to get along in terms of face. Otherwise, it would be as simple as making them unable to speak. Just as Zijinling was about to speak up and let Yuquan Mountain settle the matter, she quickly went to deal with the blood demon's matter. She felt the red light instantly enter her body from Tianling Gamo, and at that moment her consciousness went dark. Yuquan Mountain was the closest, so he was naturally the first to notice something was wrong with Zijinling. But before he could take precautions, Zijinling, who was possessed by the blood demon, started laughing. Zijinling was naturally charming and enchanting, but due to her arrogant nature, she was also unsmiling. Giving people a feeling of being cold and unapproachable, she was possessed by the blood demon this time. It was as if the Ren and Du channels were opened, and the enchantment in his bones radiated out. Taoist and Jijiao disciples, it's really interesting. After all these years, you haven't killed each other yet. The blood demon's voice and Zi Jinling's voice were mixed together, making people feel like they were in a state of intoxication. This is Zi Jinling's heart-purifying spell. Anyone who hears the spell will be bewitched by her voice. The blood demon also has the ability to confuse people's hearts and amplify their inner desires. The combination of the two can make people fall in love just by talking. Although Yuquan Mountain is higher than Zijinling, it is blessed by the blood demon's ability, so it is somewhat invincible tonight. Taoism teaches on the basis of merit, while Taoism teaches everyone without distinction, so you have been fighting for millions of years. Logically speaking, Dao Qiao, as the successor of Mr. Hung Jun, should be the most powerful one. But because the 12 golden immortals were unable to kill 3 corpses in the past 1,000 years, the disciples below are still golden immortals. When the blood demon said this, he couldn't help but laugh. It's really embarrassing to Yuan Shi Tianzun. Qinwan and Zhao Zhang, both disciples of Ji Qiao, felt proud after hearing this. There is even a vague desire to compete with Yuquan Mountain. Ji Qiao really impressed me, even though it was a bunch of messy things gathered together. But the combat effectiveness and strength are indeed much higher than those of Taoism, but in the end they can't stand on the stage. Beasts, they will be beasts after all. The blood demon's words suddenly gave Qinwan and Zhao Zhang a strong sense of inferiority in their hearts. At this moment, they are not proud of their identity, but feel inferior, ashamed, and even want to commit suicide. Yuquanshan sprinkled the awakening incense he carried with him on the 2 of them, and at the same time, he also freed himself from the interference of the mind-purifying curse. After doing all this, he quickly retreated to Qinwan and Zhao Zhang. No matter what grudges our 2 factions had before, we will put them aside for now. What we have to face in front of us is not other people, but the blood demon who has the cultivation level of Deluo Jingxian. Yuquanshan's unquestionable look made Qinwan and Zhao Jiang's expression suddenly change. Blood demon, the 2 said in unison. There were very few Deluo golden immortals in ancient times, and even Taoist Tuo Bao was only in the middle stage of Deluo golden immortal cultivation. Although there is senior brother Tai Jingxian in Jijiao, he was summoned by Taoist Hung Jun to discuss important matters. Even asking for help is simply impossible. After thinking about it, the 2 stood side by side with Yuquan Mountain. Taoist Sahang is your fellow junior sister. You should know best what her weaknesses are. Qinwan changed his slutty look just now, and a cruel look appeared in his eyes. A person who can become one of the 10 heavenly kings will definitely not be as simple as it seems on the surface. Yuquanshan nodded. I'm responsible for trapping her, you help me contain the blood demon. He is naturally aware of Zi Jinling's weaknesses, but he will never expose them to others. Even in a life or death situation, it is absolutely unacceptable. Brothers and sisters in the same sect may turn against each other. Not to mention being in front of an old enemy, so Yuquanshan was not only decisive but also extremely quick. The gap in realm is coupled with the disparity in strength. Even if Qinwan and Zhao Zhang wanted to study the weaknesses of Taoist Sahang, they could only give up under such circumstances. For a high-level golden immortal and 2 half-step golden immortals, the blood demon didn't take it seriously at all. Even if a few of them join hands to deal with him, it will be of no avail. If it weren't for the founding Yuanling who appeared halfway, he wouldn't have fled in embarrassment. In order to avoid Xiaoxian, he did not hesitate to swallow the souls of 100 babies that he had finally swallowed. He even vomited out the souls of the 2 quasi-sages, and then narrowly escaped from Xiaoxian's hands. If not, he wouldn't even be a scumbag at this moment. After losing so many souls, he naturally wanted to find something else to replace them. It just so happened that a few little kids from Jijiao and Taoism were here. Why didn't he make use of them? The souls and blood of 2 golden immortals and 2 half-step golden immortals not only allowed him to recover quickly. You can also make the founding Yuanling the target of wanted searches by both sects, so that no one is aware of it. Let the founding Yuanling become the enemy of the entire world. Why not do that? The blood demon snorted coldly, then waved a palm, and the huge blood palm moved towards Qinwan's face. Under the overwhelming strength of Deluo Jingxian, Qinwan could not escape from his hand even if he tried his best. This palm actually killed half of his life. Zhao Zhang on the side was knocked away by the aftershock of the blood demon's blood palm before he could react. His body hit the boulder behind him heavily, and the huge impact caused his body to collapse instantly. The severe pain in his body and the damage to his body made him unable to move anymore. Seeing this, the blood demon let out a sigh of relief and looked at Yukwan Mountain, who was still struggling to his death. "It's just a dying struggle. Let's let you go to the west first, and then let your junior sister follow you. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors." Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 420. The blood demon shouted sharply and condensed a bloody sword. It is common to emit a monstrous red light, and a thick bloody aura blows towards the face. Suffer death. The blood demon stabbed towards the life gate of Yukwan Mountain without hesitation. If Yuanqi Tianzun loses 2 golden immortals, it will be a big loss not only for him but also for Honghuang. Taoism relies on these 12 golden immortals to establish its position as Taoism. If 2 of the 12 are lost, with Yuanqi Tianzun's temper, he would naturally find that person to take revenge. As for the 2 named disciples of Master Tongtian, although they are not direct disciples, but the opponent's strength is also tolerable, although the Tongtian leader will not make a big move. It was inevitable that there would be anger in his heart, so the blood demon interrupted his original plan. Wouldn't it be more fun if Taoism and Jijiao were allowed to fight? At that time, he and Zi Jinling shared the same body, so Zi Jinling naturally knew his thoughts. She was originally in darkness, but after hearing this idea, she suddenly woke up. Therefore, he takes back the initiative of his body, but in the eyes of the outside world, it is one body that dominates 2. As a powerful person in the late Golden Immortal stage, Zi Jinling is not as strong and combat effective as the blood demon. But as the direct disciple of Yuanqi Tianzun, she naturally has no shortage of magic weapons. Therefore, it is not difficult for her to force the blood demon out of her body now that she is awake. However, the price she had to bear was death and soul death, but the current situation did not allow her to think too much. Although there are conflicts and differences between Jijiao and Taoism due to doctrines and other reasons, they are far from deadlocked. Moreover, the prehistoric world is playing a big game of chess in order to completely eliminate the founding Yuanling. Taoist Hung Jun even did not hesitate to send his boy out as the first person to be sacrificed. At such a tense moment, their Taoism can't be more troublesome. Yuanqi Tianzun taught them how to use the mind method to transmit sounds, which would come in handy in the most critical moment. Therefore, Zi Jinling's heart voice conveyed the message to the soul of Yukwan Mountain. "Brother, you have to save your life. The blood demon wants to use your death and mine to provoke a war between Taoism and Jiji." Yukwanshan, who was fighting against the blood demon, was trembling in his heart. If the blood demon really succeeded, the consequences would be disastrous. So there was only one way. He looked at Zi Jinling indifferently. Only she chose to self-destruct. While forcing the blood demon out of the body, it will be severely injured, so that their death can be avoided. Therefore, Yukwanshan did not hesitate to choose the magic weapon to save his life, and trapped himself, Qinhuan, and Zhao Zhang in the magic weapon. Any more hesitation in this life and death moment would be a sign of disrespect for the decision of one's fellow disciples. The expressions of Qinhuan and Zhao Zhang also became very solemn. Yukwanshan and Zi Jinling were brothers and sisters in the same sect. Even if it is a life or death situation, they will not give up on each other easily. But now Yukwanshan withdraws from the fight without hesitation, which shows that things are more difficult than they thought. Coupled with the sudden appearance of 2 dominant powers in Zi Jinling's body, the 2 speculated that she might choose to self-destruct. Force the blood demon out of the body, but in that case, Zi Jinling has only one way. If Yukwan Mountain can be made to withdraw decisively, regardless of the life and death of his fellow disciples, things will definitely not be as simple as they appear on the surface. A mere golden immortal, you still want to take back the control of your body from me? You are overestimating your capabilities. The blood demon directly gave up the fight with Zi Jinling and entered her soul directly. Seeing Zi Jinling struggling with an indifferent expression, the blood demon felt a sense of pleasure in his heart. He just liked to see these people struggling to their death because they couldn't defeat him. But before he could be happy, a strong smell of blood suddenly hit his nostrils. Zi Jinling, who was standing in front of him, instantly turned into a blood mist and enveloped him. Different from the blood mist in the outside world, Zi Jinling is the direct disciple of Yuanqi Tianzun. Naturally, there is a trace of Yuanqi Tianzun's mental protection on his body, although it will not allow him to come in person. But this trace of thought power protects the disciples, leaving a trace of vitality at the moment of life and death, and prolongs the time of death. At the same time, because of the existence of this telepathy, it would take a while for the blood demon trapped by Zi Jinling to escape. As the blood mist was completely enveloped, a burst of red light exploded instantly and spread rapidly within Zi Jinling's body. Although the red light would not cause her flesh and blood to explode, it would cause serious damage to her soul. Even if he doesn't die, his soul will be gone within a quarter of an hour. The blood demon struggled out of the opponent's blood mist at the critical moment. However, he was still seriously injured by the powerful force, but it did not affect him from taking care of the remaining 3 people. Taoist dolls, I underestimate you. The blood demon gritted his teeth and looked at Yukwan Mountain, with murderous intent burning in his eyes. Seeing that the blood demon didn't say a word, the demon emperor was furious. When the time comes, the heaven will also belong to me, and I will definitely offer this position of Emperor of Heaven with both hands. I know you have been harboring grudges for a long time, but now is not the time for revenge. If I hadn't taken action just now, your life will be left in the hands of the founder Yuan Ling. There is no need for you to instigate the conflict between Taoism and Gigi. Let's put aside the matter of revenge for now. He can go to the human world to find a suitable body. But now he still needs his help until his true form is condensed. Just when the blood demon was about to take action, a golden sword light from the sky rushed toward him. Before they could react, the figure of the blood demon was sucked into it. Being completely unable to communicate is the most terrifying thing, but what he fears more than being unable to communicate is death. Humph, let you all become my blood food today. Yao Kai reached the ground one step ahead of Xiao Xian and saw Zi Jinling being so seriously injured. But now if I continue to release the soul in my body, whether I can escape or not is still one thing. The sword light swept across the sky and reverberated in all directions, ignoring the resistance of the airflow and heading towards his life gate. They will naturally fight to the death. As for the founding Yuan, even Tiandao does not dare to confront him head-on. After fighting Xiao Xian for several rounds, he naturally knew whose sword technique it was. The blood demon quickly used the life-saving magic weapon on his body to resist the power of this sword. If he was not seriously injured by Zi Jinling, he could escape again. But Xiao Xian's sword was intended to take his life directly. How could the blood demon survive under his sword? Inject your own spiritual power into the opponent's body without hesitation. You, a little Deluo Jinxian, are not going to die directly. Everyone discovered that that person actually had the ability to reverse space. Zi Jinling, who is still alive, will definitely be allowed to return to Yuanqi Tianzun and report all this truthfully. That person is at least a quasi-saint level existence. How could a mere blood demon ignore his own majesty many times? With the demon emperor's promise, what worries does he have? The demon emperor's words made the blood demon look up at him in disbelief. Even the sword's momentum was twisted by the space to other planes, followed by a loud noise. Recalling Xiao Xian's terror, the blood demon's body couldn't help but tremble slightly. If it hadn't been for you all these years, it would have been difficult for me to survive. This kindness must never be forgotten. I heard that a holy light descended from the Western Zhou dynasty recently, and it seems that I can go there and give it a try. At the critical moment, the space suddenly twisted, and a huge hole appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Xiao Xian was not surprised by this scene. Except for him, everyone was on Hung Jun's chessboard. The blood demon, who was taken away by the twisting of space, was now trembling on the ground like a bereaved dog. As the blood demon shouted, Yuquan Mountain also made emergency measures if he could not survive this battle. Don't worry, you can help me find the demon baby. When the demon baby comes to the world, I will be able to become a saint.